crazy, but I didn't know he would.
How did it run after that, Cat?
It helped it. It didn't spin as much coming off the turn.
Welcome to another high-octane episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports. I'm Steve Winstead, and I'm continuing my interview with Justin and Billy Maxwell up here in Allen, Tennessee. And Justin, on our last podcast, we documented from your start in go-karts up to 2020. Okay, let's go from 2020, let's say, to 2022.
Pretty much just running local dirt stuff, traveling a little bit, trying to get used to racing dirt cars, learning everything that we can. So,
when you make the transition from asphalt to dirt, how big a transition was that? As far as your driving style,
it's actually quite a learning curve. Just learning that you're not necessarily driving sideways, but you're driving for the way that your car steers, the way that the rear end moves, and you're driving off this wheel, and learning how to keep the car on the bars, and learning not to let off the gas was the main thing, because I developed a bad habit legend car racing. You run into the corner and you roll out of the gas and you're off of it and you just drag the brake. But in dirt racing, you don't necessarily let off, but you don't let all the way off to keep the car up on the bars and keep the brake cages rotated, and you just kind of drag the brake with your foot. In principle, it's the same thing, because you still drive the car and kind of escape, but it's I mean it. I gotta tell you this.
All right, so here.
The biggest change for me was pulling tire offs. Honestly,
Really?
Yeah, I was having stuff hit me in the face. The first night we went to Crossville, I show up and I got not the speed stacks, the real good ones from Racing Optics, but I got I wanted to save money, so I bought the 200 pack from Speedway. And I didn't know that you couldn't stack over like 7 of them on there, and I didn't know how to stack them. You put one on and you fold, and you put one on and you fold, and you put one on and you fold. Well, I just stacked them all on there, just one right after the other. And my buddy Chris Wilson from up Crossville, he's the one that helped us get started in dirt racing. He came over and he's like, "Do you not know how to stack tire offs?" I was like, "You just put them on the post, don't you?" He said, "No." He said, "You got to fold them, and stack one, fold them, stack one, fold them, stack them." He's like, if you go out there right now and yank them, he said, "You'll pull them all off in one trip." But we took the green flag that night in the feature, and it was a real heavy racetrack that night. And of course, I didn't know like lean my head forward or kind of look side to side and stuff. And I get to the flag, we fire and turn forward. I get to the flag stand, I got to pull a tire off. I look up and everybody else is gone, and I've still got a tire off in my hand. But it was definitely a learning curve. And I'm still learning stuff now. Just learning more adjustments on the race car and how I can be a better driver. How to kind of chase the racetrack a little bit more. I'm getting better at that.
Well, what's your favorite track you run on? If you had to pick your favorite, I'm not going to ask you your least favorite, just your favorite.
I don't know.
Billy, what's your opinion?
Yeah,
Well, I like going to Boyd's in Georgia. They're just south of Chattanooga. I like Crossville. Crossville's a good track, good facility. It's handy for us. And Lake Cumberland at Burnside, Kentucky. And then we went to Junction City, Kentucky, up near Lexington. It's right on Highway 127. We was from 127 all the way up to Junction City, Kentucky. Super nice track. Not very wide, but nice facility, nice grandstands. Pits were all level, all grass pits. It was a lot of room, just a real nice track. And he was pretty racy up there too. And as Junior Brown that used to race at Baxter is still around the track, and he come by one night. Well, it was actually at Lake Cumberland. We run 6 that night at Lake Cumberland out of 22 cars. And Junior come by the pits afterwards to buy a car, and he said, "Boy," he said, "you come to race tonight, didn't you?" So, you know, he's improving all the time, and I don't necessarily think we have a favorite track, but we like those 4 tracks pretty good. We're looking forward this year maybe going to Volunteer up at Bulls Gap, possibility maybe to Tazewell.
I've heard a lot about that track.
Tazewell, yeah, they call it Bad Fast Taz because it's steep banked and it's just wide open. And so we're looking forward to traveling maybe a little more this year and trying to get our feet wet at some more tracks. And when you travel, you get into different tracks, different configurations, different banking, different drivers that you race against. And if you stay at your local track all the time, you don't learn a whole lot. You travel to other tracks, you gain knowledge quick. And it seems like that's really helped him a lot.
Yeah, it was. If I had to pick it, I mean, I like Crossville. Just the way the racetrack's set up, it's got a lot of banking. You can carry a lot of speed up there.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Lake Cumberland because every now and then it'll get right up against the wall. Some people won't run up there, but I mean, I feel comfortable going up there and running. I probably ain't as close to the wall as what I need to be, but I really liked that the trip we made to Junction City this year at Ponderosa. I really like that racetrack. We didn't. The results on paper didn't show that we done too good. I think we finished. I don't know. Where did we finish? We finished like 20th that night, didn't we?
But you were in 10th or 11th most of the race till we broke apart right on the last slide.
Yeah, we had problems with our right side axle on our rear end right there at the end of the race, but we was moving forward, and it was kind of a rubbered up 1-lane racetrack. Mm-hmm. But they had also had super late models that night, and they, of course, with them, they're going to put a lot of rubber down the racetrack anyway. But everybody was kind of in one lane, and I'd found something that was working for me, and I'd passed 2 or 3 cars and was feeling pretty good about it. And I guess must have been on the white flag lap, but the what is the name of that? It's the
flange.
Yeah, the drive flange on the right side of the rear end broke, and it shot the axle out to the wheel cover. Of course, it didn't go good after that.
No.
But no, I'm looking forward. We've seen a couple schedule releases. We may be making a trip to Volunteer this year. We may be going to Tri-County in North Carolina. But I don't know. We're planning on going to Bulls Gap. It's last time I was at Bulls Gap, I was a little kid and sitting in the grandstands. So remember Scott Bloomquist in the Chrome car, the Lucas Oil races up there. It was.
What motivated you to get into racing to start with? I'm talking about when you got into go-karts. What motivated you to want to do that? Most drivers I've interviewed, a lot of them, they say, they got their start in go-karts.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't really. All my friends was playing baseball or basketball, and I really wasn't good, or football, and I really wasn't good at any 3 of them. And found something I was good at and took off doing it. It's turned into this. So.
In my elementary school in White County, where I went to school at, down Central View, I was the best bench warmer they ever had.
I was a basketball manager in high school. As somebody asked me one time, well, why don't you play? I was like, well, I ain't no good. That's why I'm
Well, what's some of the, let's say, creative rule interpretations that you've seen and heard of? That I ain't talking about something you made. I'm talking about what you've heard other drivers do. Bending the rules, going over the line.
There's a lot of the holes in the plates on the restrict plates for the go-karts.
Yeah, I don't know if we've been in the dirt car really to really learn all the ways to read between the rules yet. I've always been told that if you're winning, you're cheating. And that might be the case back in the day. It's not. I don't think it's so too bad right now. I wonder if people are doctoring tires. We're not supposed to put prep or anything on our tires. I just wonder if some of the people's not doing that. I know motors are a big deal. 600 horsepower, 700 horsepower, 750. Our limit on our car is the tire size. We don't have a big wide tire. We run an 8-inch tire. That's the rules. But that big motor on a tacky track when you're qualifying will put you up in the top 4 or 5. You might be equal come race time, but if you got that extra 100 horse during qualifying when the track's heavy, that'll get you in the top 4 or 5. And you'll see 1/10 of a second difference if you go to a big race in the top 15 cars. Well, if this guy back here in 15's got a 500 to 600 horsepower motor and the top 3 or 4's got a 700 horsepower motor, that's what that 1/10 of a second is. That gets you up front, start in the front, and get out of the junk in the back, and get you up in the top 4 or 5 right off the bat. So I don't know that there's a whole lot of cheating. We got checked at Lake Cumberland because of our transponder. We beat a guy by 1/1000th of a second in a heat race and transferred to the A main. And that guy that we beat was a local track champion. And they accused us of having a transponder in the wrong location on the car. A track official come over and checked it, and so we were fine. And I told the track official, I said, if I'm going to cheat, it's not going to be where the track location is on the transponder on the car. But anyway, I'm sure there's things you can do that we really haven't noticed anything that we could do that was really making an advantage.
A lot of stuff in the dirt racing world right now is just how free stuff moves and how light you can get this part, but how rigid it can be, and making downforce and stuff like that. Shocks are a big deal.
Yeah.
It's shocks are so far over my head. I don't even think I want to start learning about them. That's why I have somebody else build me a set.
Is there any driver? Well, yeah, any drivers that used to drive that you might say your heroes? I mean, that's retired from driving or inspired you, or
I can't think of anybody right off the top of my head. I'm a big Jimmy Owens fan. I still am. Just watching him race is pretty cool. Him and Scott. I remember him and Scott racing when I was little. Let's see, who else? Who was all the people that raced back in the day? That always.
Well, Bob Dale was a cousin. Bob always, every time we seen Bob, he was always asking me questions and stuff. And Bob was in bad enough health when we started racing that we didn't get a lot of coaching from him. Now, he really coached a lot of people, April Carr, Jerry, and
Yeah.
Vicky's daughter, when she started racing in 4-cylinders at Baxter down there. He was right there every night coaching her and Jeremy, and was, taught her a lot of stuff right off the bat. And he was bad enough health when we started. We didn't get a lot of coaching from him, but he was kind of my hero. My dad was my hero, but Bob seemed like he was just larger than life when he was out on the track. But it was somebody that I got to talk to every week, when I was a kid. So that kind of got me interested in all this deal.
I've heard a lot about Bobby Dale, and I would, if there's anybody out there that can help me with this, I'd like to do a story about Bobby Dale. And if anybody out there can help me, just shoot me a message on my Facebook page or any of the track pages. And that's something I'd like to do, because he won a lot of races.
Yeah, he was, the guys back in that day when they raced, they done hard work. Bob was a logger, sawmill guy. Most of those guys worked hard during the week, and then the racing was for fun on the weekends. And it wasn't really a big, expensive deal back then, but they had to know what they were doing. Houston Montgomery, for example.
Yeah.
That guy, man, he could build some cars. But but they built everything. We sat down and ordered parts and put stuff together. And, but those guys back in those days built everything. And that's what amazed me about what they were doing at that time.
Well, Justin, obviously you're a young man, but I want to ask you this: is there any advice you could give to young men and women too that would like to get into racing? What kind of advice? When that question for you too, Billy. What kind of advice would you give for the aspiring drivers?
Enjoy it because you can ask him. It's enjoy it and have fun with it. You can ask him. It's been times where we take it too serious and we don't enjoy it, and we have to step back and breathe from it for a minute or two. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get in there and learn stuff. Learn how to work on your own stuff. Learn how learn how to drive. To what you feel like you can, and the best way to do that is just watch what other people do. YouTube's the greatest thing I've seen now, because there's people making videos about working on a race car. It's like I can go in there and watch that, and these guys are doing this way. What if I done it this way? And if it works, I'll remember that for as long as I live. But it's just, and watch racing. Watch the way other people race. It's for example, you can watch the Chili Bowl right now, which is going on, and you can learn 100 different things. I mean, I have, and we ain't even made it to the A main on Saturday yet. They started racing, I guess, this morning at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, with was it a Q or a?
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was some letter way down the alphabet, but you can go on there and just watch racing, and it's you can learn so much. I really picked up on that. It's I don't necessarily care who's leading the race, but I can watch third and fourth place race and watch them slide job each other and hit doors and pass each other, and learn a whole lot watching that. But
you need somebody to help you
Yeah.
if you're going to start.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go to the track and talk to people. When we were go-kart racing, we had a guy up above Knoxville that helped us, and then we got connected with a guy over in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, that was building go-kart engines for us.
Competition karting.
Well, yeah, that was one of these Jerry Welch Motorsports at Knoxville, and then it was Tim Fischel over in North Carolina. We bought parts from competition karting. We had some local guys from Glasgow, Kentucky that helped us. Rick Maynard here in town helped us set up go-kart stuff. When we decided we were going to think about legend cars, we went and got connected with a guy in Nashville that was a dealer, Ken Joyce. Carburetor guru. He shipped carburetors everywhere, New Zealand, everywhere. So, that guy helped us a lot in legend cars. Now that we started on this dirt modified, before we ever bought a car, we went and talked to Ricky Arms over at Moss, Richard Harlow at Glasgow, Kentucky, Chris Wilson, of course, we talked about. We talked to those guys about what to look for to buy in the car and what to do, how to get started and everything. So don't be afraid to ask people. Some people will just turn you off and won't tell you anything or give you some kind of stupid answer, but a lot of people will be willing to try to help you get started. And you got to have somebody to point you in the right direction, or you'll blow a lot of money quick.
Well, Justin, Billy, I thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to come up here. And this concludes this episode of Southern Dirt Motorsports. I'm Steve Winstead. Thank you for joining us, and please like and subscribe to our channel, Southern Dirt Motorsports, on YouTube. Thank you very much.